WWE is screwing over LA Knight. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how they're doing it and why they are making a mistake. Look, LA Knight, he has continuously risen to the occasion. When they ask him to do something, whether it's promo segments or it's in-ring action or it's feuds or even media appearances, LA Knight, yeah, he comes to the occasion. Why? Well, because he has it. He is a pure pro wrestler. He is wanting to rise to the main event scene, becoming a world heavyweight champion, a face of the company type figure in this company. Now, I understand that LA Knight, he's actually had a pretty solid year. Let's break it down for a minute. He was part of a Fatal 4-Way Universal Championship match earlier this year at the Royal Rumble. Not too bad, although he lost again. He did go over AJ Styles at WrestleMania, and what I enjoyed as a pretty good feud going into that match. I thought both guys did very, very well to really get that angle, get that feud over. And obviously, he's had his ups and his downs throughout the summer, right? There's been bright spots. There's been down spots. There's been spots where we think that LA Knight is going to finally rise to the occasion and get over to the point where he can break through, right? You know, when Vince McMahon was in charge of WWE, he always made the reference of the glass ceiling, and he wanted to see who could break through that glass ceiling and who couldn't break through that glass ceiling. Well, I feel like LA Knight keeps bouncing off this ceiling. He can't quite break the glass. And I don't even think it's necessarily an LA Knight thing. I think it's just purely the booking of WWE when it comes to LA Knight. Now, obviously, he had his big moment earlier this year, SummerSlam, dethroning Logan Paul as the United States champion. And while he didn't have a feud that really cemented his legacy, he was a very active champion, defending the championship multiple times over a course of several weeks on Friday Night SmackDown. And the beautiful thing about that was he was doing open challenges. So you would get the opportunity to see LA Knight A defend the championship very often, and B, it would give other talent opportunities that may or may not have gotten this opportunity to not only share the ring with LA Knight, but also challenge for a championship. Open challenges are just really good. Now, fast forward, WWE, they opted to put LA Knight in a program with returning Nakamura, who had not won a single match in multiple months, had not been seen on television in multiple months, heading into Survivor Series, making that match official. Now, Nakamura did win a quick match on Friday Night SmackDown before Survivor Series, but still they had not really built him up other than just repackaging him. So despite all the hard work, despite all of the hype going into LA Knight's U.S. Championship reign, well, it was a little flat. Now, since then, you had the Bloodline go over Andrade, Apollo Crews, and LA Knight in a 6-man tag on the December 13th episode of SmackDown, or at least the tapings of that. I think that match airs this Friday, so apologies for a spoiler. And then obviously he went to a DQ over Solo Sikoa on SmackDown as well. Here is how WWE is screwing over LA Knight, and I think it's very simple. They gave him the opportunity to be a United States champion, okay? And then they didn't do anything with him. He feuded with Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. Now, that's no knock on those two guys, but he had beaten him previously into, Bad Blood, I believe. And so when they worked that triple threat match, he had already beaten them. So it was a lame duck match, in my opinion. And it's like, well, what are we doing since he had already beaten them once before? It was Crown Jewel. And so then he goes into a feud with Shinsuke Nakamura, who is a older, out of his prime performer who is only used when WWE needs him to be used, right, to put other talent over in recent years. This is not the Nakamura from New Japan. This is not the Nakamura from NXT. This isn't even Nakamura from 2019 on the main roster, right, 2018, 2019, when he won the Royal Rumble and went on to WrestleMania, etc. We're not even talking about that guy. We're talking about a very distant guy. And so to have LA Knight put over Nakamura is it's out of body, out of mind, insane idea. And then we're going to have Nakamura just be champion for a while. Like, it wasn't a thing where, okay, Nakamura, he got a BS win over LA Knight or a quick win over LA Knight, but then LA Knight wins back the title, a month later or whatnot. No. That's not what we're doing here. And it's a shame because LA Knight deserves better. If you go down and you have a checklist of what you're looking for a WWE superstar, LA Knight hits every check mark. Yeah, from it factor, from charisma to his character to his promos to his in-ring ability. Now, I'm not saying he's the greatest wrestler in the world, but he's certainly very good. He knows what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, and he has a very good in-ring psychology when it comes to his matches, right? He may not do all the flippy floppy flips, but from just a storytelling ability inside of this word circle, LA Knight crushes it. And so when you look at all the factors, you look at if you took a piece of paper and you wrote down, okay, on one side you have the pros, on the other side you have the cons. There's not many cons next to LA Knight. Sure, he is 41, but at this day and age, and it really has been like this for the last, 10 years, 15 years, you can work until you're 50, right? If you're a guy, you can work till you're 50. And so it's not like, okay, he doesn't have a lot of runway, right? Nakamura is older than him right now. I understand that you needed to build up Nakamura to do something with the guy because you were just paying him to sit home. And B, you needed to build him up to the point where he was a credible contender for LA Knight. While I disagree with the initial title change, I can understand it if it's a situation of which, okay, we want, classic psychology. You would rather have your babyface chase than rather be like a long-term champion. Like, not everyone is Cody Rhodes, right? So I get that. So you wanted to have Nakamura go over. You wanted LA Knight to chase him. You wanted him to get back the title. Great, fine. When are we going to do this? Right? Like, there's been instances of them mixing it up, and there's been instances of them teasing going at each other. But, like, at what point can we just get to it, right? And maybe by the time that you hear this video, the match has already been announced. The point remains, why is LA Knight not the United States champion right now? Why is Nakamura the United States championship holder? What was the positive, as of right now, as we see it, what was the positive purpose behind dropping the United States championship for LA Knight? What was the positive impact on LA Knight? Because it does nothing for Nakamura. Everyone sees him as a transitional champion, right? Like, that's the whole premise behind title changes. You have it goes back to the territory days. You would build up your local babyface, and then the NWA champion, a heel, would come in and try to, walk out with the championship. The babyface would try to take the title away from him, right? The babyface was always chasing. In WWF, a babyface territory, you would always have your top babyface, and then you would bring in new big heels to try to take the title away from him, right? There's constant threat. What are we doing with LA Knight right now? Where's the constant threat? Where's the hunt? Why is he not champion?